Over the years, the superhero spotlight has been ruled by the gay, purple-haired retards of Marvel and DC, constantly putting out slop for the masses to eat. Okay, maybe not the new Superman, but you know what I mean. For Love and Thunder. But behind your Captain Marvels and your Green Lantern movies, we have two superhero movies. Two great superhero movies, I might add. Megamind and The Incredibles. Now, of course, both have incredibly bad sequels. I'm looking at you, Doom Syndicate. Megamind and The Incredibles are in the same universe, as your timelines add up incredibly well. The similarities in both films are extremely suspicious as well, and the backstory of Metroman and Megamind is a bit weird. I'm onto you, Syndrome. So if you missed the last video, you wouldn't know that I got a new mic. Genuinely, it's because of your support I got this. Please subscribe and like, as well as share, because I am a small channel, but a small channel with a mic. So, Syndrome, the villain of the first Incredibles movie. Would you believe me if I said Syndrome's technology is directly linked to Megamind's, especially his zero-point energy machines? They are extremely similar to the likes of the brain bots in Megamind. They both have the same color blue on all their tech and have extreme levels of intelligence, both being able to make extremely advanced tech at a very young age. Megamind creating a mini mech suit for his fish and was able to dehydrate inanimate objects and rehydrate them at will. This technology is thousands of years from humanity. Why was he a villain? Syndrome created rocket boots which he knew how to use and fly, almost defeating the most powerful superheroes of all time. Cause yes, if I'm able to prove this theory, then that means Mr. Incredible and Metroman are in the same universe. Anyways, them both having similar tech is a good lead, but we can say that about anyone. The only way for this argument to be even a little good is if we find an object that is in both movies. My argument is that Megamind knew Syndrome, so it should be easy, right? I watched and played everything. The Incredibles Lego games, both movies, the shows, I Hate You, and even the sequels, but nothing. I was about to give up on this theory until I played the game Megamind the Blue Defender. In the game, it takes place after the events of the Megamind film, with Megamind now stepping into the role of Metro City's Officer Defender. Players control Megamind as he battles waves of enemies known in the game as the Doom Goons. Well, at least we know where they got the idea for the Doom Syndicate. In the game, there is something called the Tesla glove. Now, do you recognize it? It seems very similar to It's Syndrome's gloves. Now, they may not be his gloves specifically, but what use would Syndrome have for gloves that don't fit him? So he definitely reconstructed them into his size. And remember when I said I found no objects in both of these universes? I lied. Hard. The Binky also uses zero-point energy. Of course it is extremely powerful in the series, for you're not gonna believe this, but a villain who wanted to rule Metro City called Machiavellian stole it when he was a flipping brain. But let's just ignore that. Throw it away, burn it, kill it. So a lot of similarities have been found between these two. But Megamind is only 33 years old in the events of the first movie. So how are these two movies in the same timeline? The first Megamind movie is set in 2010, however it's confirmed that Megamind landed on Earth in 1977, but the events of The Incredibles happened in 1962. Now the Incredibles timeline is something else, as we know that 15 years after supers were made illegal, in 1947, we see supers like Thunderhead performing illegal super acts in 1958.
November 15th of 58.
A full 11 years after this lore, and even Elastigirl continued illegal super work before retiring in 1955. It's no wonder that this government agent was so sick of moving them. They broke the same laws dozens of times. Now I say 1947 because 15 years before, 1962, is 1947, and Syndrome died in the year 1962. Then the sequel to The Incredibles is set in 1962 as well, happening right after the first film. Which is weird, but it's okay. But for the Doom Syndicate, we can safely assume that it's set in the range between 2017 and 2019, the high of influences like Monkey Dude and Wolfman. So as we know from Incredibles 2, supers were made legal in the same year as the movie in 1962. A lot has happened in 1962 for some reason. So that's why Megamind and Metroman didn't get any criticism over their powers. Oh yeah, and let me make this clear. A little mini theory if you say. Megamind has powers, and so does Syndrome, but I don't think they know it. They are incredibly smart, so they must have super intelligence. Yes, I know Syndrome admits he has no powers.
This is because I don't have powers, isn't it? Well, not every superhero has powers, you know.
However, if he doesn't, then how is he so smart in his 20s and be able to build rocket boots in his literal teens? Him and Megamind could revolutionize the world. If only Mr. Incredible could have given Syndrome a chance. And also I want to bring this up. It's never been confirmed if Megamind had powers or not, but online it will say he has none. However, this poster promoting the movie says otherwise. It's big for a reason. Well, maybe he has such a big head because his species relies only on intelligence. Because, let's be honest, Megamind has not been hitting the gym. But with this information of both Metroman and Megamind having powers, we can deduce that they came well after the events of Incredibles 2. In 1977 is the canon date of them landing on Earth. But what if I said their backstory is complete bogus and just a ruse fed to the public while no one knows their true backstory? Megamind and Metroman's backstory begins with both of their planets getting sucked into a black hole, while they are the only survivors left. A basic play on the Superman backstory. But that's the thing, Metroman in this universe is a copy and paste of Superman. Even his most heroic acts in the Metroman Museum is taken from Superman's story. A big one is the plane he saved.
Oh, come on, Bernard. As long as there's evil, good will...
Seems awfully similar to when Superman saved the plane. Because that's the thing, this is for Metroman's entertainment. He could easily destroy Megamind. He could make sure he never causes any more damage to the city forever, but that's boring to him. So instead, for possibly decades, played this cat and mouse game with Megamind. And something that proves this is the beginning of the movie, when if you lower the speed, you can catch a glimpse of Metroman moving. He traveled across the world, had time to read multiple books and go through a midlife crisis. All this in less than a second. He went and walked around Megamind's lair, for goodness sake. You could at least put him in jail before he knew where he was. And even when Metroman left to pursue his dream of guitar playing, he was fully aware of Titan destroying the city. Also, remember that name, Titan, is going to be extremely important later. However, he did nothing, showing his carelessness for the city he pretended to protect for all these years. So it seems like this Superman persona was given to him. But by who? I think you see where I'm going with this. Syndrome. He was the one to implant him with powers from the many supers he killed, the same way Megamind did to create Titan. Gazer Beam, Macro Bust, Philage, Blaze Stone, Downburst, Everseer, and more died to create this Metroman. But where's my evidence? And how am I going to fix the rips in the timeline as well? And why in hell would Syndrome even consider creating a super? Well, just keep watching as I go into part 4. Kronos was a big part of the first film in The Incredibles. And did you know that Kronos was actually a titan in Greek mythology that's referred to as the Titan of Time? And what name does Megamind give to Hal when he turns into a super? Titan. I believe that Kronos was meant to be Metroman's original name, because in the film it's even said that he picked up that name because of the city he was in.
He took the name Metroman, defender of Metrocity.
Also, one more thing is that Megamind kind of resembles Lex Luthor with the whole incredible intelligence and great engineering skills, as well as money, because it probably takes him a lot of money to make this stuff anyway. As Kronos is called the Lord of Time, we can see that Metroman might as well also be called the Lord of Time, because of how fast he moves. And it's a pretty weird password for a computer, don't you think? But he was probably born around 1977, and as we know, his backstory is bogus and probably ripped out of a comic book. However, Syndrome died in 1962. And why would he even consider doing this? He hates supers with his entire heart, even eliminating everyone except for a couple like the Pars and those weird supers in the second movie. Well, at the end of the first Incredibles movie, he wanted to steal Jack to train him to kill supers, but was stopped and killed by the plane's propeller. Well, that sounds familiar. It seems like he would instead make one as Megamind did, and then send him to destroy all supers. But he died, so he never got the chance to. So he must have traveled all the way to Metro City, and as of Megamind's origins, he was probably born normally as a super and was tricked into believing this backstory by his idol Syndrome, who he named Titan after Kronos, because as we know by the films, he's very gullible and trusting. And that's the theory. Please leave a like and comment. I would love if you could subscribe as well. Truly makes my day. Goodbye.